All right, go ahead and get started. We finished practice 7 here this morning. Another good, what I think is another good practice, a lot of situations. We've got a lot of 11-on-11 footballing right now. And our guys continue to show up and compete every single day. Really like the brotherhood that we have on this football team right now. The chemistry is really strong, and the guys are hanging out together. They're working out together. They're practicing really hard for each other. Really happy about where we're at from that standpoint right now. Obviously, just address it quick. You guys heard the news about us dismissing Tylen Oden. Wish Tylen nothing but the best of luck. We have standards and a culture that we expect out of our players, and we have to make tough decisions at times. And like Tylen, I wish him nothing but the best of luck, and we'll do anything we can to help him down the road. The other one is Amir Mitchell. You got news that he tore his ACL last Saturday in a non-contact drill. We'll get surgery for Amir relatively quickly. Best case scenario probably is that we get him back sometime before Big Ten play starts, or relatively around that time. Worst case scenario is he would be out for the year. Obviously, you can't ever tell how they're going to respond from ACL injuries, but I know this: Amir is a competitor. He'll do everything he can to try to do the rehab the right way and get himself back as fast as he can. But in that 6 to 8 month range, we'll see where he's at when we get to that point. We're very excited about this weekend. We got a lot of things going on with the program this weekend. We've got our coaches clinic that starts tomorrow. Expecting a great turnout. We've got a great lineup of speakers. It's always great to be able to bring high school coaches on our campus and be able to continue to build relationships and talk about what we're doing here, and also give them an opportunity to get better by the speakers that we bring here that will talk a lot about what they do with their program. We also have Student Appreciation Day this Saturday. Really encourage the students to come out and be around our football team. Student support on game day is very important, and I thought we had great student support last year. We want to continue to develop that relationship with our student body and get them to be a part of this football team, and we're hoping to have a great experience this Saturday afternoon in the bubble. So with that, we'll go ahead and open up for questions.
Chris, what does losing Tylen do to your quarterback depth, and does it put you in the market for grad transfer or the urgency for a 2018 recruit?
No, it doesn't at all. I mean, we're short right now with our depth, but it is what it is. We have 2 scholarship quarterbacks. We have another one coming in, Jonathan Lewis, but we're not in the market for a grad transfer quarterback. We have scholarships for one.
Chris, with Mitchell going down, who's expecting or who are you hoping to step up in the receiver?
I mean, who's ever out there. I mean, there's nobody else to step up, and we're thin at that position. We have been since the spring started. We won't get the full strength at that position until the fall. DeCoven Bailey's played. He's doing a nice job. Damon Mitchell's doing a nice job. The other guys are just trying to figure it out, right now. So to say someone's going to step up and replace him, now that's not going to happen right now.
With how competitive Amir was in practices that you've talked about, do you expect him to approach rehab the same way?
Yeah, it's like I mentioned, he's a competitive guy. He'll go out and do everything he can. He's got to do what the doctors tell him to do and not above and beyond that, and potentially run into a setback. But he'll compete. But everybody's different. I mean, it's not about just competitive spirit. It's about rebounding from an ACL injury. I had one myself, and everybody responds differently. Their bodies respond differently. So only time will tell, what the best case scenario or worst case scenario would be for him.
Understanding that Janarian can't really do any contact stuff, how have you seen him in terms of moving around, cutting? It seemed like he maybe ran some routes a little bit today.
He's been doing a little bit of that for a while. Janarian's working hard. He's doing what he can right now. If we wanted to push him and put him back out there, he would go do it, but we're not going to put him in that situation to potentially hurt himself. But he's doing what he can right now. Looks good running around. He's put some weight back on. He lost a lot of weight through the surgery and the rehab. But he's put a lot of weight back on. He's filling out, getting stronger, and like where he's at right now.
Trevor Morris looked like he's out doing a lot more. How's he looking right now?
Trevor's been full go. We were concerned about Trevor being limited at the beginning, but he's been doing everything. He had a slight back issue that came up at the end of winter workouts before we started, but he recovered from that relatively quickly. It was a minor thing, but he's progressing. He's out there learning. He's playing faster. He's communicating better. And, his reps are cleaner. He's using his hands more, and he's in a better football position more. So I like where he and Roberts both are at. Now we've got to continue to develop some depth at that position. That's a real concern moving forward. But with Roberts and Morris, those 2 guys are a really good pair inside right now.
How about the running back position in the competition? How are those guys looking to you right
Too many balls on the ground, to be honest with you. That's the biggest disappointment, the biggest point of emphasis right now to get that group better. They're the best thing they probably are doing right now, the biggest improvement they've made right now is their pass protection. That was a real issue last year. But all of them have worked extremely hard to improve in that area, and it's showing up on the film when we do live situations. But again, right now for us, the ball is the most important thing. Offensively, we've got to be able to hold on to it. Defensively, we've got to be able to take away. And we've got too many balls on the ground for what we want in this program. The guys just have to understand the value of the ball and how important it is to our team's success. It's no secret, last year we had an issue holding on to the ball. It cost us some games, and we just can't do that. We got to get that fixed here throughout the course of spring and training camp.
This is our first chance to talk to you since the last scrimmage. What stood out to you about the scrimmage, and then what would you like to see going into the second scrimmage?
The things that stood out, we played really fast on defense. We tackled exceptionally well. We did create a lot of takeaways in our scrimmage. So I was really pleased with that. What I really liked offensively, it wasn't a very good scrimmage because of what the defense did and how they played, but they bounced back and had a great Tuesday practice and really got after the defense. So I like the team going back and forth like that, but the scrimmage is no different than just every practice. We're cleaner, we're crisper, we play faster. Guys communicate better because they know what they're doing more and more confident in themselves. But the scrimmage was really a one-sided show. It was the defense controlling the offense. But like I said, the good thing is the offense responded. And Tuesday they had a really good practice and got after the defense.
You had said originally that you didn't expect Bonagura to do much in the spring. I saw him out there today. Is he able to do more, and how are both the kickers and the punter doing this spring?
No, Bonagura is going to be limited the whole spring. He suffered a lower back deal. He'll be fine, but again, we got to bring him back slowly. Just when you talk about backs and kickers, and we just don't want to mess with pushing him too soon to get it back out there. We know he'll be back out, but kicker's another real concern right now. We're not where we need to be. We won't have the true competition that we want and need on the football team until the fall when a couple of new guys come in and get thrown into the mix. But like today, we weren't very good. We got to get better. Michael Cintron has gotten better at the punting position. He just needs to work on his consistency, but he has done a nice job. When he hits him pretty good. And one thing that we are really emphasizing in special teams is we do have to get better at snapper and kicker, but we've got to get better at the coverage part of it with our players. And we're doing a lot of drills to try to improve the coverage part of it. And I don't like to say, well, it just has to be the kicker and the kick's got to be perfect. If we got to go cover, we got to be able to get off blocks. We got to be able to tackle. As coverage units, as kickoff coverage and punt coverage. And we spent an insane amount of time this spring trying to get that fixed and get that better and identify the guys that can do it.
That's what I was asking. Is that unusual for a spring camp? I feel like maybe special teams coverage stuff is training camp in season.
No, that's everywhere I've been that you work on that a lot. You don't work on necessarily the schemes of the special teams, but you work on fundamentals and technique. Punt's really the one that you work on scheme stuff in the spring. And everyone does it different, but what I've been around and what we do here is we work a lot on the fundamentals of the special teams, and that's what we're doing right now. And our kickoff coverage and our punt coverage, we're working a lot on the fundamentals of just being able to get off blocks and make tackles and form our net. The net and having people in the right position is so important to eliminate space for a returner.
From the offensive line standpoint, anything stand out from the scrimmage? And I guess right guard, Vaneski was working on first team. I guess Keenan was limited, but anything to take out of
and not from the scrimmage. Like I said, the defense won the scrimmage, and they pretty much dominated throughout the scrimmage. But they bounced back Tuesday. Offensive line had best practice on Tuesday. They came out with a different attitude or different approach, and offensive staff did a great job of getting them fired up and getting them focused on what we needed to improve on. And we had our best day of running the football on Tuesday. It continued a little bit today. It was more back and forth and more balanced today with the offense having some plays and the defense having some plays. But I like the way that the one offensive line is playing right now. They're playing with good pad level. They're using their hands. They have a better attitude. When I say better attitude, more of a nasty attitude to the approach of their job and getting their job done the way we want it to get done. Depth is a real concern on the O-line. You mentioned right guard. That's one of the 5 spots right now that is not where it needs to be. We're trying to roll some guys through there and figure out who can fit in with the other. We feel pretty good about the other 4 spots. on the offensive line, but right guard is going to be a work in progress for a while. Marcus Applefield would be a guy to be in contention who's battling, rehab from a shoulder surgery, but he'll be back in the fall. We'll get it all figured out, but 4 of the 5 positions I feel really good about, and I think they're practicing at a high level. Pass protection has been much better. And again, our pad level and our ability to knock guys off the ball on the line of scrimmage has been better.
Final question? Okay. Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you guys.